ABC News. Well, last week it was fires. This week it's floods. Victorians are mopping up in the wake of a huge supercell storm that swept across the state late yesterday. While its ferocity brought damage to some parts of Victoria, the rain has, for the most part, been a blessing for drought-stricken areas. Nicole Asher reports.
A week ago, Ian Matthews was watching his paddocks burn.
From fire to floods, in a matter of 4 or 5 days.
200 mil of rain fell on his farm at Brewster, near Ballarat.
It was that heavy and intense, it's just sort of washed away. Weather at its weirdest.
Pakenham bore the brunt of the wild weather as it continued today. Since yesterday afternoon, the SES has received 1,800 calls for help from across the state. And first responders weren't immune.
Members were already here attending to other calls that were not related to the storm event. And their vehicles, some of them have been damaged by the hail.
In the Macedon Ranges, it was fire forcing people to flee.
Air Observer helicopter working on that fire actually clipped a power line. It was able to safely land, however there was damage to the windscreen. It was only the pilot in the helicopter, and the pilot is fine.
As the clean-up got underway in Melbourne, the firefighting effort continued in the northeast and east Gippsland, where the rain provided some relief but also setbacks. Plans to open the Princes Highway were delayed.
With the weather event that's come through has meant there's been a need to further assess roads as limbs, and there's been some minor landslips.
But Air Force flights meant some locals made it home to Mallacoota. It will take a long time for many of the town's businesses to recover, but the government's encouraging tourists not to forget Victoria. The state government has now turned to Star Power to boost tourism.
So come to Melbourne and visit regional Victoria.
And the fire zones will get the help of the corporate and sporting sector.
Sport and business can come together with government and support those regional communities by, instead of having an event in Melbourne, take it to a bushfire affected community.
While many of those communities are enjoying a brief respite from the heat, it is forecast to warm up later in the week. Nicole Asher, ABC News.
And reporter Jane McNaughton joins us now from Stratford in Gippsland. Jane, there's been flooding rain there, but it seems to have caused more joy than concern.
It certainly has. This area has been in drought for what farmers are claiming is approximately 3 years, in what was dubbed the green drought. Today the BOM have said that there was 89 millimetres of rain in Stratford alone between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. We spoke with local farmer Carly Hodge, and here's what she had to say earlier.
Everyone needs it, the farmers especially, but as you can see, the dam full and everyone's happy, so I've never slept so well. With the rain on the roof, I mean, there's nothing like rain to put you to sleep, that's for sure, especially after this one.
And we saw earlier the Princes Highway was opened briefly. Have people in Cann River who've been cut off there for weeks been able to get out of there today?
Yeah, they were. At about 12 o'clock today, the Princes Highway to Cann River was reopened. It'll close again in approximately an hour at about 8 o'clock tonight, so many residents were able to actually get home in a safe convoy this afternoon.
Jane McNaughton in Stratford, thank you very much. A violent thunderstorm has wreaked havoc in Canberra with large hailstones pelting homes, cars and businesses. Parts of the city, including Parliament House and Manuka Oval, were blanketed in white earlier this afternoon. Hailstones and fierce winds tore limbs from trees, smashed windows and flooded businesses in the city's north and inner south. Hundreds of cars parked in the open were damaged, while traffic was brought to a standstill by golf ball-sized hail. Power in several parts of Canberra is now being restored. The local SES has received more than 1,000 calls for help. And the skies over a huge swathe of western New South Wales turned black yesterday as the region was hit by a huge dust storm which enveloped entire towns. The incredible scenes were the results of the ongoing drought being experienced by much of the state. It was also a reminder that when it comes to recent rainfall, not everyone's been a winner.
They were hoping for rain, but instead they got this. A fast-moving dust storm that swallowed everything in its path, fuelled by winds in some parts of more than 100 kilometres an hour. The monumental cloud travelled from Broken Hill to Dubbo, enveloping entire towns, leaving them in complete darkness.
Yeah, no, it was quite unreal. It was, to see something like that roll over so quick.
Farmer Jason Herbig filmed from his car as the storm hit. He says while dust storms aren't unusual in Collie, northwest of Dubbo, this was a big one.
This is probably up there in terms of thickness, probably the worst.
It was a cruel blow for those who desperately need rain. Closer to the coast, others have been more fortunate. This dairy farm near Gloucester, north of Newcastle, has received more than 100 millimetres since Friday. Paddocks that were dry and brown just last week have been completely transformed by green grass.
Everything's gone absolutely ballistic. Growth everywhere that we didn't know whether it was going to come back or not, but you can see from behind me that we're experiencing some rapid growth situations.
The farm hasn't seen rain like it in years, but follow-up falls are still needed and the lack of water remains a big concern.
There's no water in serious dams. The rivers aren't significantly running yet. They are running in places, but we've just been lucky. We've got under a serious patch of weather and it's been excellent.
It's not just farmers who've benefited from the downpours in this area.
This rain has seen the Barrington River rise from barely a trickle last week to this. And that's welcome news for the town of Gloucester, which relies on this river as its only water source.
Trucking water to Gloucester is expected to stop soon, especially if there's more of this. Ben Millington, ABC News, Gloucester.
Climate scientists are warning the Australian Open could become too dangerous to play in the peak of Melbourne's summer.